This will be a 2-minute warning. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes.
And he's going to put the other one up here. Early, and I don't want somebody to slap it around right there.
All right, we're 9 o'clock on the dot. Thank you everybody for grabbing your last little cup of coffee and grabbing a seat so we can get started on time. This works so much easier than it will before now we have a microphone. So we want to welcome you to our Lake County Eustis chapter of 1 Million Cups. So if you're not familiar with what 1 Million Cups are, we will go into that in just a minute. The reason we call it Lake County and Eustis, if you have friends, colleagues, co-workers, people that you associate with in South Lake, we would love to have you invite them here today because, again, this is for all of Lake County, not just the North Lake and the Eustis area. So we want to cover all of Lake County. So invite your friends and your family and all of those in South Lake to attend as well. So before we get started, a couple of housekeeping notes. Let's try to keep our side conversations to a minimum. We want to give all our attention to our presenter. If we can mute your cell phones again so we don't distract the presenter during her time. And then we are filming. We're going to be live. We're actually live on Facebook now, so everybody say hello. Hello to Facebook. Hello. Hello. And then bathrooms, we have the women's bathroom up here and the men's back here behind me. So we want to thank our host for doing this every week. We are in this building every week. We have been since the start of it. This was one of their projects to bring in the UCF incubator, to bring in 1 Million Cups, to bring in the SBDC. So we have a small business development right here all under one roof. So you have everything you need to succeed if you're a small business owner or looking to start a small business. So we want to thank Mega Workplace. So Pam.
Hi.
Say it up.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I gotta say, this is my favorite part of the week. It's pretty exciting. And thank you for coming to Mega Workplace. We are a co-working place. We have private offices and dedicated desk, and we have hosting 1 Million Cups. SBDC is doing some things, and Fast Track Lead for Fast Track. So it's a lot going on. And if you have any questions about the facility, just let us know. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We also want to thank our sponsor, our coffee sponsor, our ongoing coffee sponsor is Foxtail Coffee. And then we have United Southern Bank as our donut and pastry sponsor. So if you're out about, the one thing we say, we come here to connect. And we'll learn more about that. But if you make a connection, you want to get together during the week, visit a Foxtail just to thank them for everything that they do for 1 Million Cups. Donut sponsors, we are offering these on quarterly changes. And next week will be sponsored by United Southern Bank. And then starting April for the second quarter of the year, Brandy Lake and her crew is going to be sponsoring, so thank you, Brandy. But if you want to talk about or get more information on sponsoring for the donuts for the third or fourth quarter, just see Monty or myself, and we will get you the information needed for that. So, first timers. Who is a first timer? So, do we have any first timers today? All right, so Tasia, Amanda, when you bring in the mics. have you introduce yourself with just your name and your business.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Reader. I'm here with Deborah with Eco Depot from Vermont.
So we're gonna put you on the spot a little bit and ask you to stand up as well, if you would, please.
Hi, I'm Latona Pye, and I own Legacy Financial Services.
I saw a couple other hands. Go ahead. Don't be shy, don't be shy.
That's you.
Tom Pemberton, I'm a real estate investor.
Caroline Fulmer, marketing manager for Advent Health Water.
All right, anyone else? Can we get them all?
Caesar.
No, Caesar's been here before. But Caesar, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Cesar Gomez, my second time here, Florida SBDC, Lake County. Thank you.
All right, John's got a little bit of pull, so we'll do whatever John has.
No, I don't.
So, to our first timers, what is 1 Million Cups? What are we all about? Why do we meet every week? So what we do is we meet to do presentations and not pitches. So the people that you see presenting each and every week will give you a presentation on a challenge that they're having in their business. It could be a business concept. You know, as we say, if you have a thought and you're sitting at a restaurant and you wake up at nighttime, you know what, I think this might be a good idea for a business, and you put some thoughts together, bring it here, because we've had a couple of those to get the thoughts of everybody that is here attending, because everybody that is here in business for themselves, Deborah, all started with a thought. So the business had to begin somewhere. So this is where we want you to bring those ideas to 1 Million Cups. So they're not going to come here and ask you for fundraising. They're not going to ask you for money to help build their business and support their business and get their business going. But they're going to present challenges that they have or thoughts that they have to get up and running. The other thing that we really want to stress is that we are here to make connections. We're not here to network. We're not here to try to solicit business from each other. This is a business-to-business support program. We come to support the business presenters. Everybody that attends each week, they are here to support the presenter. They are not here to sell the presenters or anybody else in their products. It is a true business-to-business support program. And I think that's what makes 1 Million Cups so successful, and why we're having such a great turnout each week is because we're just here to support each other. There are a lot of great networking opportunities. You've got the chamber. They meet once a month with their breakfast and several other opportunities. We've got B&I that actually meets in here the first Thursday of the month. Great networking opportunities. Today is about business support. So that is what, for our first timers, that is what 1 Million Cups is all about. So what we're going to do after Deborah's presentation, we're going to give away, we'll do a drawing. Say where you at. Remind me, because last week I almost forgot. We're going to give away, we're going to pick a card, so if you have not put your business card in the basket, we'll make sure that we collect that before the end of the meeting. And then you can pick whatever goodie up here that you want to take home with you. I will tell you that what do they call these things? The tumblers? They work great. I can usually get coffee at the beginning of the meeting, not drink it, and it's still hot at the end of the meeting. So, who is eligible to present? Again, it's brand new businesses. If you have a concept, if you have a startup, if you have an idea for a business, we want to see you up here and we want to help you present. Between Monty, myself, and Jared, where are you at, Jared? There you are. We're going to help you put together a presentation, if you need it, that will get you the best response and feedback from everybody in attendance. If you have a newer business that is 1 to 5 years old, this is traditionally and developed by the Kauffman Foundation to help small businesses get past that initial 5-year point, because after 5 years, the majority of businesses, and I think it's a 90% success rate, it's a good success rate, it's after 5 years. The failure rate or non-success rate is in that 1 to 5 years. So this was developed for that 1 to 5 year time frame. And it's what we like to call it, it's what keeps you up at night. If you have a newer business and you wake up and you're thinking about it, that's keeping you up. We want you up here presenting that challenge and getting some feedback from everybody in attendance. And then we don't want to exclude the established businesses because you were successful and got to that point. But on an established business, you're welcome to come up and present. If you want to start a new portion of your business, if you want to do a new leg of your business or expand your business and you need help, the thing that we say every week, or try to say every week if I remember, I can promise you, and it is a promise I will make, and I don't like to break my promises, but you may not have any feedback for our presenter today, but I can promise if you attend every week, there will be a situation that you have come across in getting your business up and running, that you will be able to give feedback to the presenter. So at some point in time, you're gonna play a big part in our presenters' challenges and their presentation. So, with that, we want you to stay connected. We want you to find out what's going on. We want you to invite your friends and colleagues and people that you do business with, that if they can't join us live, to join us on Facebook. What our hope is that once they see what this is about, they can participate through Facebook. Laney, raise your hand. Laney monitors our Facebook, so if they are on and they have a question, they have a response, they're gonna let Delaney know, and she's gonna let us know. So we want those people watching on Facebook to feel as part of the meeting that they are sitting right here with us, even though it's live. And then we hope that that will translate over to them attending live and in person. So follow the Facebook page. We have YouTube where you can go back and watch some of the past presentations. We have our 1 Million Cups website. You just go on there, follow it, and then you'll get updates as we move forward. So, who puts all this on every week? This is all a volunteer organization. We don't get money and we don't get funding from the Kauffman Foundation. This is all volunteers. So everybody that you see up on the board or on the screen, these are all volunteers and people that have joined us to organize. We even have a couple that Greg Sizer. Greg has been wonderful and has been a huge part of our success. He just hasn't joined online, but Greg is every big as an organizer as anybody within the group. So
I did join. That's weird.
Little push for Greg. But if you want to be part of this, if you want to help us put these on every week, life goes on. We have business meetings, we have school appointments, we have different things. We always, even though it looks like it's full board, we always need help with organizer. Go to the 1 Million Cups website. If you want to present, click on the present tab. If you want to join us as an organizer, click on the organizer tab. So before we get started, are we ready on the mics? All right. So we got 3 mics, so Amanda's going to take the middle, Paige is going to take the outside, Margaret's going to take this side. So, question of the day, what is the most exciting part of being an entrepreneur? Who wants us to get us started?
All right, for me, we're a family-owned and operated business, and honestly, I didn't know how to do the entrepreneur thing, but I'm learning. The most exciting part of it for me has been watching my kids see what we're doing and want to build their own entrepreneurial ideas. That's the most exciting for me.
The most exciting part for me is the connections that I make in being an entrepreneur. Coming from, I consider myself being a shy person, but becoming an entrepreneur, it got me out of that comfort zone to where I have to now get face to face with people. So making the genuine connections as an entrepreneur.
To me, being an entrepreneur is like having a canvas, and you can kind of recreate and create and do things differently and create the life that you want.
Not that many neighbors like use this, and the fun part is you can take a day off whenever you want. Just don't make any money that day. But I can also look at my 2 kids and go, I will not miss your game.
That's right.
I will be there for your stuff. So that's the best part for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll go different than Brandy. I'm kind of the same way with Pat. I'm not a self-employed, but I work for a company. I'm a commissioned employee. I did not miss one single event of my kids all through high school, and I may have taken off work and I may have missed a few calls, but I was at every single event my kids were. And now the nice thing is I have a laptop. I can work from anywhere, so I can travel and still do my job. Deborah.
I had thought the other day as I was driving, I no longer have anyone holding me back. I don't have the boss saying you can't do that. That's not within your scope. So it's freedom to live the life that I want.
I'd say the biggest thing for me was financial freedom, learning how to be able to not have a cap on what I can do and what I can make.
All right, anyone else? Great. Hey.
Same thing she said.
basically not having a cap on your potential. You can go as far as you want to go, as long as you put in the work to get there, and that's fine.
All right, thank you, everyone. That was a great question, Monty. And just so you know, Monty comes up with our questions each week, so he does a great job with those, so we want to thank Monty for that. So we will continue on, and the format today. So if you're going to present, and we do need presenters, I think we are scheduled out through, I think, April 24th. So April 24th. We'd like to stay at least 6 to 8 weeks out scheduled if we can. So if you're thinking about scheduling or presenting, or you know someone, let them know. Let's get them scheduled and get them on the list to present. So what we do with our presenters, and today we're going to have Deborah Hodge from Ego Depot. She's going to do approximately a 6-minute presentation. If it goes a little bit longer, that's fine. You know, we're not going to cut the presenters off at 6 minutes, but we want to give them the most feedback time from everybody in attendance. So we say, you know, it's a rough guideline, and then we're going to have roughly about 20 minutes of response from everybody that are attending today. Again, it's kind of a guideline. We're only doing one presenter. Some Million Cups do 2 presenters. We're doing 1. We find that it's been really, really effective for our presenters. So again, we're not going to stop the question at 20 minutes, but we do have a couple of follow-up slides at the end. So we'll kind of limit it at that point. So we're going to have roughly 6 minutes. We're going to have roughly 20 minutes of feedback. And with that, Monty is getting the PowerPoint. So let's welcome Deborah from Ego Depot.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. So my shop is located in Claremont. We sell electric bikes, Fords, scooters, or anything electric we will work on. We're a full service shop, and we've done really well for ourselves so far, moving into our 3rd year. My background is population health. I work for the military, Orange County government, and a few other things. And I wanted to be part of my community. I wanted to do something that was still healthy but happy. In the before shop, I started very small. I'm self-financed, and I know a lot. I had a grand opening with the chamber, and now this is what the shop looks like. We're full to the brim. And people that came to the grand opening now confess that we were worried for you. We didn't know if you were going to make it. You didn't have very much stock. So right now we're doing well. Our future, got lots of options for the future. Something about the company, I have great employees. I have family members as employees. My tech is amazing. Customers were super focused on customer service, and I think that is definitely something in the bike industry that needs improvement. Family, I said, are involved. Community. It's important to me to be involved in the community, especially living on military posts. It really made me appreciate what they have and how they stick together. So it helped me with my future. So this is us. We do the Claremont Christmas Parade. This is our 2nd year. That's our box truck. This is my mom pulling the candy. It was a great time. We go to candy. We played music. We had snowballs. So just an example of us being part of the community. I'm a member of the chamber, like I said, South Lake Business Leaders, and I try to get involved in as much community, fundraising, things of that nature. Next steps. Well, as I said, I feel like I have a lot of opportunities with this business. But I feel like the next step would be rentals. I get requests for those. Where I'm at now, I don't have the space. And it's a little bit scary because people can rent them and never return them or wreck them, and a whole new level of liability insurance. And so this is what I'm bringing to you today. So with the rentals, we've got to consider the cost, my cost versus where I would sell the rentals. So what I want to do is not only offer rentals from my shop, but I want to go and present rentals to local campgrounds, 55 plus communities, hotels as an added amenity. The financials, they are people pay through them through an app. They are able to be geo-fenced. You can pull them up on the app, see where they're at, with their, and the bikes that I want. There's a few different options. But it's a class 1, so if you don't know about e-bikes, there's 3 classes at the moment. Class 1 is just pedal assist. Class 2 is what I offer, which is pedal assist and a thumb throttle, and that throttle is a game changer. Class 3 is when you have the throttle, pedal assist, you go over 28 miles, and that's where a lot of folks get in trouble because they're having these high-powered bikes in places that aren't appropriate. So these would be class 1 bikes, very safe, they're made to be rentals. Like I said, you can do the geofencing, they pay through an app, and everything's recorded. So I may be a little ahead of myself, but the problem for me is what would be the cost share? If I approached a business, instead of me just saying, hey, here's some rentals, why don't you just have them out and pay me for the rentals? I need the people to want to care for them to make enough money from the rentals that they have a sense of ownership and responsibility. They would need to make sure that bikes are charged and working appropriately. My shop would do all the repairs. Profit sharing, what would that look like for me to work with a business? I'll do all the repairs. Do I have them share the cost of buying the bikes so they do have some idea, or let them consider paying as we go? Risk, liability is huge, as you know. Everybody's looking for something, they can disappear. But for the most part, if I have the company that I represent the rentals to, they have enough, I'll say, skin in the game, they're gonna care for them. So here's my question. What is the cost share? Do I just come up to them with 6 rentals and say, here you go, let's share it 50%?
What is the cost?
The cost is around $3,000 per bike for the models that I'm looking at that make sense. I could get lesser bikes that would not be trackable, things of that nature, which from my shop I'm comfortable doing. But if I'm going to share profits with someone, they need to want it to work.
Who's responsible for charging them? How's
It
that
would be
work?
the location.
Is there a port?
Yeah, so it's like charging your cell phone.
And are there multiple ports? Can you like take the bike, ride it to one location and port it in a different location? Or is it the same port?
So you can charge it anywhere. I think you mean kind of a station where they park it and charge it. So far, I haven't found a company that works in that way that I need. They do exist. These would be, if we said, okay, this is Deborah's land and you can't go past A or B, you can geofence them. They could leave them in a certain place and you can determine if there's a charge for that or not. But you can, you read the battery level through the app. Did I answer your question?
Have you seen the city bikes in like New York?
I have.
That's what I was-
It's similar to that in nature.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the idea is the technology is where you can say, here's your area. Once you go past that, there's an extra fee for them to kind of keep them in the area.
Are you ready to go into the questions and answers part?
Yes.
All right, so we'll go ahead and start. Amanda and Dave are going to be on the mic, so if you have feedback on that, we got Todd over here. So, all right, so my question is, all right, so what's the life expectancy of the bikes?
So they are built to be rentals, very low maintenance. So with good care, a few years, even more if we replace batteries.
All right, then my next question is, if you do a cost share, which you're probably gonna have to do a cost share, because they're gonna want benefit from that as well. for the places that are you're sharing this with, it's kind of 100% profit to them. Because they have nothing invested, so are they gonna have some type of investment to a purchase, and that might be something to think about. If it's a 2 or 3 year lifespan, how long is it gonna take to pay that off, to cover maintenance, because you're probably gonna have to install charging, and I think to me, you have to look at where is your break-even point before you start actually making profit, and with their profit being from day one. You know, and then my second thought is, maybe start slow with like resorts in different areas where they're not going to go leave it, because you know, you might run one here in Eustis and they might leave it in Montora. But maybe just to kind of see how that goes. But I think to me, that's what you have to look at, because you're 100% breaking even until it's all paid for. They're 100% making money from day one. So I think, you know, just something that I was thinking when you were going through that. Pat?
So my thought was, you know, it's cool to rent a bike and just go kind of tooling around on your own, but like the Segway tours are actually really popular. If you partnered with someone that did that, like maybe one of the beachfront resorts, where you get 15 people and they go riding down the beach together without as much effort, because it's hard to ride on the beach, but it's beautiful. That would be a really easy sell for you, as opposed to, I don't see a whole lot of people renting it just for themselves to just tool around town. That seems like a harder break-even point. So the big beach hotels would be my suggestion.
Thank you.
Hi, I work with Deborah. A big portion of our market comes in and asks, they're Thousand Trail members, they're campers, they're here seasonal, and they come in and they want to rent 2 bikes at a time. They only want to go around the parks. So it's a unique clientele where when you're city rentals, they do get more distraction, they do leave them wherever they want to. It's almost like golf cart rentals in those communities, if you think about it that way, if that helps. Thank you.
My name is Jared. My recommendation would be to, I mean, there's a million questions that you could come up with, and a million reasons why it's just too hard. My suggestion would be find a campground that is a little bit more upper end, and try all these things. Obviously, the cost share, it is a value based thing in terms of having these bikes will improve the amenities of the campground. As far as the cost share, I don't know what that looks like. Maybe you look at the costs for just the infrastructure that has to be put in, and look for that mainly. But just start. And then obviously, you'll figure things out. There's things that no one in this room could ever think of that are gonna come up, and you're gonna have to figure out. But I would just pick one really nice campground that you think would be great, or like a Mission Inn, and just go with that one spot, and then they become your case study to then sell to everybody else. Because you wanna start small anyway, because it's a $3,000 a piece. So when you start talking about 6, 7, 10 bikes, that's a lot of money. And it gets pretty expensive pretty quick.
Thank you.
Okay, excuse me, so I have a couple of questions. Number one, do you know the average distance the bikes are rented for?
So these bikes are generally a 30-mile range with one charge.
Okay, but when somebody jumps on a bike, rents a bike, what's their average travel distance? Is it 1 mile, 3 miles?
That is a great question, because you can go further, faster, longer than you can pedaling, or than when you were 12. So depending on the rider, they can knock out 20 miles very easily.
My suggestion would be to look at colleges. We've got Lake Tech, Mineral College here. We've got Beacon, Lake Sumter.
I already have customers.
Okay, all right. So that was just my suggestion.
Thank you, Al.
I would consider going to the bike company themselves you're purchasing these bikes from. Tell them next year I want to purchase 10 times the bike that I'm purchasing now. Can you put me in touch with other companies that are growing their businesses really fast, so that I can strategize with them, what you tried that's been unsuccessful, and what are you trying that's unbelievably successful, so that you start to navigate away from spending all your time trying things that are high risk.
Thank you, Tom. I have posed that question to a couple companies, and they hold back. They're like, they just.
Reluctant to share.
Right.
Next.
I look at your last word on that, those bullets, and it scares the hell out of me. You're renting to somebody that doesn't have a helmet on, not used to being on a bike, rides down the road, falls over, busts their head open, and now you are responsible for it. So I would seriously talk to, I don't know what kind of lawyer is involved, but what are your risks of, on that day, viewpoint, and you might decide, okay, forget that, okay.
Do you have them sign waivers and stuff?
Thank you, Rick, yes. So they would have to agree to a waiver. I would, a helmet is included. It's not, you choose if you're gonna wear the helmet or not, it's free to use. What I can do also is within the app, when they agree and they pay, we will have a self-insured portion of that, so they will have liability coverage within that fee, and then of course, the location would have to have liability coverage, and so would I, as the business. But for that, the first go-to will be the liability insurance that they paid for when they rented it.
Greg Sizer with Right Realty Connection. One of the ideas might be to check out all the ride-sharing companies that are out there that have the different things out and about, and see what kind of data you can find out and what the average, like Al was asking, what's the average mileage that they go on, you know, and do some of that data. That would be a really good idea to be able to see if it's worth
Yes.
the cost of the bike and everything.
Excellent, thank you.
So I just have a question, and I don't know a whole lot about it. Is there an opportunity for like a long-term rental? You know, maybe some of these golf cart communities, people moving in that don't have golf carts yet might want it for a couple of weeks to explore the community, or, you know, the home sales office to maybe take people, kind of thing.
Yes, that's excellent. That would be something that I would do from my shop. That those kind of long-term rentals, you know, we would establish liability and everything, and they would be regular e-bikes for them. Thank you, yes.
I have two things that come to mind. One, are you familiar with Arrow Estates Country Club? Over near like Poplar?
I've heard of it.
They have a very unique problem where a lot of the community that lives up near the lake area have to park in a separate area, and they have to walk all the way down to their houses. So if you could get into a place like that, that has a need for transport for small distances, and I don't know if you have different sized baskets, maybe something you can add on the back, in the front for people's groceries, or things like that. That would be a very good spot to be in, so they can just transport back and forth without having to drive their car down, park, drop their groceries off, and walk all the way back. So something like that, that's Arrow Estates. The other question I had was, how do you get paid? Is it through the app per mile? So as they're riding the bike for every mile they ride,
It would
they're
be
paid
time-based,
time-based?
either for an hour or all day at different fees.
The other thought I had was, I don't know how prevalent it is in this area, but Airbnbs, people come on vacation, they don't necessarily want to drive their car, they like Ubering, things like that. Maybe get into places like an Airbnb where the Airbnb host buys the bike, so it's not a cost from you, and you share the profit on the minutes used. I don't know if that's an option.
Yeah, thank you. Do you know anyone at Arrow Estates?
Hi, my name's Jason, we met earlier. Just an observation to share with you. My wife and I bike about 30, 50 miles every weekend on every trail in Central Florida you can think of. One thing we notice is a lot of rental bikes. when we're out there, because they're never on the right side of the path. It's their first time, right? Is your shop on the trail? No, okay. Can you be mobile?
I can be.
Something we've observed as we go through Claremont, because we'll start in Winter Garden, go to Cody, go to Claremont, you know the trail, right? Okay. There are people renting jet skis, there's people renting kayaks, and they get a permit, and then they put in at the Claremont Lake there, Mineola, I think it is. Could you be mobile where you just buy a few bikes, minimize your risk, they're not left somewhere overnight at another business or something like that? You advertise, market, people show up there and rent the bike from you for the day, get the feel of it. I don't have an e-bike, we pedal, but we have gone into the bike shops and borrowed an e-bike if they want to sell it. You know, hey, just go drive it for 20 minutes and come back. You might have a good starting point there, where if you can get mobile, just take a few bikes, bring them there, get it set up, people rent from you there, and they bring them right back to you. And then that's probably the same with you.
I love that idea, as I do have to present to the city in Claremont to get that approved. I see that as an opportunity because it is going to be, Claremont will be meet me in the middle, which is the central point of the Coast to Coast Trail that's has about 22 miles, I think, of completion, but they still have they're still a few years out.
Hi, I'm Margaret. I'd like to expand on what you had to say about Errol Estates. The real estate agent is actually a family in that neighborhood. If you were interested in putting e-bikes in these golf course communities, you would want to either talk to their country club or their HOA, because many of those already rent golf carts, depending on their size. And so there's several up in the Eustis area. There's not many in Apopka, but Errol is a good example. And once again, like someone had mentioned earlier, if you wanted to kind of case study with that country club, integrate it in with their current rental system, and then be able to take that and pitch it to other companies.
Thank you. Great idea.
Yeah, one thought following, I think on what Jason said. You know, like, what is it, the West Orange Bike Trail? Is that the one that goes through Winter Garden? You know, to me, a place like that, a great starting point is where somebody has to come back to get their car. Because the odds of them leaving it somewhere else is gonna be very minimal. So, and there's several spots down like the West Orange Bike Trail that I think they have like rentals or check-in spots. That might be a place to start too.
I'm gonna be Debbie Downer here. I've been out to Salt Lake City, and the scooters that they rent are all over the place. They're in people's yards, they're in the ditch.
That's right.
So definitely keeping track of all of them, because once you get them into these HOAs, the neighbors are going to be complaining. Karen's going to be out. I'm sorry if there's a Karen in here. But Karen's going to be out. They left their bike in my yard. So definitely lots of rules.
Yes, I believe you were correct. I know you're correct. We've seen that. So within municipalities, they're problematic because they're left everywhere. So definitely we would have a starting point or return point for that.
I could be wrong, but I think those companies actually have certain people within the communities that actually take charge of those certain bikes or whatever, so they go pick them up and bring them back to their place.
Correct. That would be part of their responsibility. That's why I need to have them some skin in the game, so they're willing to have those employees, hey, go and fetch the scooter.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, I'm Monty Bleed. I don't see location as a problem up there. So do you already have a locale picked out?
I do have some that all I need to do is have a demo and formulate my presentation, the return on investment, all the things, and present. So I do have some places in mind, and now Errol Estate is another one.
Okay, yeah. I feel like Juan, I've got several questions written down. So you asked for cost share. Do you know the average market rate for those apps, or do they provide that data? Is there competition in that area?
I know the competition's growing daily. Through the app, we can see everything. the cost sharing, like it's reported, period. Whoever rents it, it's reported, so anybody with access or responsibility can see it. It also shows where it's located at, what the battery level is. Did I answer your question?
I meant, so where you're providing the amenity, they won't see the cost share. You'll be monitoring that as you'll be licensed with the app, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but they can also, what I'll have an agreement with before they even have access is their percentage, and then they would need the ability to see all of those things.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm with everyone else. That seems like a win-win for the amenities, that it would just be a big up for them as long as you can do that demo, provide, the example that you'll have a quality service there. Be sure to include in your demo how often you'll be out, what will the bikes look like, this is how new they are, this is how great they are. So with that said, as far as cost share, just an example in another industry, the gig companies come into a restaurant, they ask the restaurant to give them a 30% discount, and we'll charge the customer a small fee, and maybe that gig will make 40%, and then let's say whoever's delivering the items will make 10%, the gig company will make 30%, restaurant will make 70%. So if you just keep that in mind and know where your break even is and a comfortable rate of return, you said you're self-financed. So just however that worked in the beginning, maybe keep that same formula.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're kind of looking at who would say no if I said, hey, here's some bikes, let's rent them and I'll share the profit with you. But they don't hear about them. So what we have been considering is we'll share it 50-50, but you will pay as we go until you pay that cost off.
So do you have to replace the battery before the end of the life of the bike?
It happens. It does happen.
And is there an opportunity to charge by the mile? I mean, you take somebody out and they, go 30 or 40 miles, somebody else goes 5 or 10. That's a heck of a lot of wear and tear on a bike. So is that competitive or just not possible?
I would have to do more research.
So speaking of, like the Segways in Eldora, have you talked to them to see if they would sit down and kind of show you what their business model is? Because that's a start and stop place where people are using it in town. And then you can maybe formulate something like that, like with, the bike trails or the campgrounds. Because I think the campgrounds, some of the campgrounds are huge, they have walking trails, that this would be big. Now again, then you have to factor in on the bike trails, you're gonna have, it's not gonna be paved. So there's more wear and tear, those are gonna break down more often, they're dirty, if it has a rain, it's gonna be dusty, that's gonna factor into it too. But they might be a place to start or somewhere that does something similar, golf cart rentals.
Yes.
To kind of see how they break it down when they share it with somebody else, what the cost share is. Elaine?
I was just gonna say, the thing that pops into my mind is when we're talking Mount Dora, I know it's everywhere, but they have these big charter buses that come in of people who are on vacation all together. And instead of using the Segway, that would be a perfect opportunity for a lot of them at one time. And they're not usually going very fast or very far, but it would be a fun, different way for them to get around. So just
Thank you. Great idea.
Yeah, I know one thing with the Segways, they have to do like a training, because you don't just jump on those things and go. A bike, you can just get on and go.
There's a learning curve. And if I didn't mention, rentals could expand into water sports. I have an electric surfboard as well.
So what happens when I rent your bike and I'm out on the trail and I have a flat tire or my battery goes dead?
These come with solid tires, so you will not have a flat. The battery would should be fully charged before you rent it. There would have to be a recovery service of some sort. We do have ability to do that.
So the charging stations that you put in, now you put in like a charging station
Not on these so far, it's just the battery, each of the bikes would have a secondary battery, so if someone brought it back, we have a battery charge ready to swap out.
All right, Monty?
Just to piggyback on that, so I've been in the Beltway on Atlanta and rented scooters with my dad, and we'd be down the Beltway and it would die. And if there's no scooters or bikes nearby, you know, it's not super prevalent information to know, like, oh, there's a recovery service I can call. And it's just the act of, okay, I know this is an acceptable place to leave this scooter. Guess I can figure it out on my own. I'll just piggyback on his and get back to where we're going until we find another scooter. So you mentioned geofencing, but can they only park it at the charger?
Well, there's where we hit the wallet to encourage them to put it in the right place. You can have, if you don't return it to the right spot, and the app will have their credit card kind of test it for X amount of dollars, then that charge would be incurred. So there's ways to kind of curb that behavior.
Yeah, I think I would approach the resorts or wherever you picked out to, you know, their investment should be at the HR level too, training these valet guys to, like, hey, these bikes need to be 100% chargeable before you even let them go, and not necessarily put the onus all on the customer, that there might need to be some type of transactional relationship with the valet, and then like, okay, this bike's fully charged, you can have it.
Right, great idea.
You know, and I think of that too, and building off of that, would it be cost effective in a bigger resort to put multiple charging stations? So if they're out riding around and just forget where they're at, and either they can get a map and check it, going, we have one here, we have one there. So you kind of break the park up that, you know, they're not at the farthest end of wherever they're at and they run out, knowing that they only have to go a short distance. But, you know, again, now that's another cost factor that you have to take into account, whether you pay that or the resort or you're sharing that, so you don't run into that.
Right, so that, with the app, you can locate others nearby. So that,
Kind of like Tesla, where you know where the next charging station is. You're welcome, Elon Musk. But kind of like that, where you can find the next charging station when you're out through the app, or even with a map. Just somewhere that they know that they're not limited on where they can go, or it's like, well, I have to go here and then go charge, and then, you know, come back and charge, and then go, and never be able to get to the endpoint that they want to go to. John?
So if my battery dies and I'm out 10 miles, your app shows where I am. Is
Yes.
that right? Okay. And with geofencing, basically, you can only go in this area, right? So
Right.
you can't take the bike out and head out for 30 miles and you have to stay in that area.
correct.
And it's basically, if you have a battery life of 30 miles, it's like, you just go in a 15-mile radius or something like that. Okay.
Well, yeah, and obviously there's a conversation that has to be had with these bikes. You know, I with each test ride we do orientation, so that, again, that would be part of the responsibility of the location to go in and have that oversight and that contact. You know, how to use it. No, here's how you use it.
So if I go beyond my perimeter, does the bike die?
It can be, if it doesn't die for safety reasons, you know, we don't just turn it off.
So it slows down?
It makes noises,
Okay.
it alerts them that, hey, you're exceeding your agreement.
Okay.
If it dies, I'm just curious, you can still pedal it
Still
and get it,
ride.
okay, yeah, still
You give a discount if you have to pedal a dead battery bike.
We're gonna go about 2 more minutes over here.
My initial thought when you say this is you're not renting this out to, you know, like some of these larger cities where you just take this bike and you drop it anywhere. This is like a fenced area. So a lot of these comments are, you know, for you go and you drop it at a charging station, you pick up another bike. This isn't your vision. Your vision is like the Mission Inn, the campgrounds.
Enclosed area, so to speak.
So you're really not in danger, per se, of running out of battery and not being able to get back, or needing a charging station.
Right, and some don't come with charging stations, it's you just charge the
It's just
battery.
plugging the battery in at night and recharging it.
Yeah, I don't like to
Per
see,
se.
correct, so that's why we have a backup. So the batteries are pretty darn reliable, and we test the health of each battery, we have those capabilities, my tech is amazing. He's a bike whisperer. Thank you.
So if you find one of these larger campgrounds, you know, that you want to get some bikes into, could you do something, you know, I will pay you campground $500 this, you know, a month for you to just make sure we're charged up at the end of the night and everything. And if all goes well, in 3 months, 6 months, we will explore a percentage of sharing. And maybe that flat fee will get them in the door and wanting to rent them.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, so one of the thought, going back to Jared's thought of kind of testing it in an area, because has anybody ever ridden one of these e-bikes? They're really cool, really cool. So what if you took it to a resort with a sizable staff and let the staff test it for delivering, you know, whatever to the room or somewhere like that? So when the staff sees it and they're on it, they're gonna go, you know what? Our customers are gonna love this. So that might be a test point for you as well. And I don't think it would take long, because it's like, it would make life so much easier, and then they're gonna wanna pass that on. I agree with Jason, and then Art is gonna finish this up.
Okay, thanks, I'll be quick. But I wanted to finish a thought with you on this question. Are you renting to be in a long-term rental, or are you renting so they get an experience and then buy an e-bike from you?
Long-term rental.
Okay, just a thought, on the long-term side of it, just maybe you start much smaller where you control most of the aspects and it's not in other people's hands. The reason I mentioned the mobile, I was on the Van Fleet Trail, you're probably familiar with Van Fleet, okay? And we were eating at a pavilion, a guy pulls in with a trailer, meets a family there, does a little demo in the parking lot. Now, you know Van Fleet's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Old Florida, right?
Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. They experience it, he tells them on a map how far they can go, and to bring it back there and he'll pick them up. And he controlled every aspect. He wasn't sharing the profit, he controlled the bikes, it looked like real small. He didn't have a name on his trailer, but I like observing people.
Sure.
So he did his little presentation, they experienced the bike as a family just like that. I think they were staying somewhere in Davenport at a resort, and they came out and did it. But my thought is, on your business plan, maybe start very small where you control it and you're not outsourcing so much, and get the experience going and build your model out of that.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, Margaret, finish this up.
And one last question for you, Deborah. What as a community can we do for you?
Talk about e-bikes, promote my shop, give me any suggestions, the good, the bad, the ugly.
What's the best way to reach out to you? For Facebook, your website, email?
Email. Email's the best.
All right, so
And
we'll
even
leave that for a moment.
even a text, because sometimes I can't even get back to my computer. I'm very hands-on in my shop.
All right, let's thank Deborah for her, taking time. All right, I'm not gonna forget this week, Sadie, got her business card so we can do the drawing? All right, so if you want to take a quick picture of that, then Monty will go ahead and call Art back up and we'll get wrapped up. Sadie, come on up. Deborah, go ahead and pick one. All right, Cindy. So I believe this is community announcement time. I think as many times as we've done this, I know where we're at. All right, so community announcements. Where did Marie go? Marie, you want to start us off? Let's start off with Marie.
This weekend we had our chili cook-off, and there's a reoccurring theme about getting involved. People keep telling you you've got to get involved. They want to see your face. They want to know your story, and you can't do that just behind a computer. So you have to get out, and if you want to be a part of the community, we had a wonderful day Sunday in the park. Our chili cook-off, one of our newer members sponsored a booth. They did their chili. They won first place, first time they ever entered, and it was a real family company event. Also at the same time, Advent Health sponsored our bounce house. It was busy all day long. Just these little things that you can do to reach out and let people know you're here, okay? And then they will come, okay? If you build it, they will come. We are having on Friday an opportunity for headshots. Byron, where'd he go? He just left. Byron's going to be set up. There's a flyer on our webpage, on Facebook. He's going to be set up from 9:30 to about 12:30. It's just a walk-in. If you're a member, you can get a great headshot that you can use for everything. He'll give you the digital component of it, and you can walk out the door with that for $35. If you're a non-member, it's $45. Might give you a chance to come in, and you can use that, you know, your image on anything that you want. So please keep that in mind. Please keep us in mind. Yes.
Where? What's the
At the chamber, at the Eustis Chamber.
When?
This Friday, 9:30 to 12:30. And he's in and out, and he has an adult Easter egg hunt that he's doing in the afternoon. I said, you'll have to tell me about that one, but, so we're there for you. Please come down. I'm going down right after this meeting, so I can be in the office for a little bit, and, again, think about Eustis, think about your community and how you can get involved.
All right, David and then John.
Hi, Dave Douglas with Hand in Hand Recovery. Was having a conversation here earlier today. We are a faith-based, long-term, in-house addiction recovery facility for those who financially otherwise couldn't find recovery. But part of that organization, they earn their keep by doing some social enterprise for us. On our men's side, we have a complete lawn care service. So anybody that's in need of that lawn care, whether it's residential or commercial, you can reach out to us. We'd love to give you a bid for that. We also have some commercial cleaning on our women's side, and they do a great job of pulling weeds, which nobody wants to do anymore. So we would love to have that opportunity.
Yeah, Hand in Hand is just an awesome program, and, you know, I know our church and several churches in town support them, so I talked today a little bit about having them do some work in our community. I will tell you, the work that they do cleaning up our church every Saturday is probably as good as any landscaping company that I've seen around town. John?
Just a reminder, we had a great kickoff session for the new CEO Exchange Group. I have two vacancies if you're interested. We're going to have a speaker next in April. He runs the largest company of his industry in the state of Florida, so we're pretty exciting stuff. And two other things for you. May the 9th at the Lake David Center in Groveland, we're going to have a government contracting seminar from SBDC. And April the 11th, navigating business funding. There will also be later in the year, we're going to be teaching class on tax strategies for small businesses and a QuickBooks basics class. So.
TEDx Eustis got to visit Boggy Creek this week, and the chairman says there's still openings for handicapped kids to get into camp. It's an amazing place, and it's all Eustis. So if you know a handicapped family, make sure that they at least apply to go. It's a freebie. It's something you need to use. And Toastmasters, April 1st, 5:30 at the Chamber.
Lake Cares Food Pantry is doing their annual necklace raffle. They are trying to raise money because they've got their new facility going in, I don't know, 30,000 square feet or something huge. It's 22? It's, yeah, huge. Either way, if anybody is interested in those raffle tickets, it is a 6-carat total weight necklace that you can come see? I do. It is a beautiful necklace and I've got.
You're wearing it?
I am, and I've got the insurance policy in my purse. If you see me walking around like this, it's not looking for the clip.
Where is Officer Co?
Yeah.
You have a call you had to go on.
You're on your own today.
But it's for a good cause. It's like there's food pantry. We all, you know, $50 for the tickets. They're only selling 1,000.
Cindy?
Yes, we are partnering with the SBDC, Lee, the UCF incubator. We're doing a presentation for taking your business to the next level. It's gonna be on April 9th at the Eustis Community Center, and it's 7:30 to 9:30.
All right, I know Monty, you got a couple that you want to talk about.
Can I get a show of hands of anyone in the construction, manufacturing, healthcare, or agriculture business? Okay, everyone please flood Mike Kelly's email. He's the Director of Business Retention and Expansion for LEAD. Lastly, can I get a show of hands of how many of you are business owners? Okay, now hand back up please if you have a structured, fluid business plan that you refer to.
It's not fluid, but it's structured.
So all everyone, there was probably 20 people that just because you're an established business and you're successful, to take it to the next level, to take it to where you envision, to take it to get you that good sleep at night that Jim talks about as what keeps you up at night concerns. This fast track course is 10 weeks and it's a sister program to 1 Million Cups presented by the Kauffman Foundation that we've been lucky enough to facilitate here with the help of young people. So it's Tuesday nights, 3 to 6. We bring in subject matter experts. An example, Jared, founding director of the entrepreneurship program at Valencia College is one good example. George's Body, a huge pillar in the community, spoke last night about the entrepreneurial mindset. So it takes you through asking you many questions on the gold standard by Harvard Business School, that you're making this structured business plan without even realizing it. And you're getting to witness people that have had that success and have a multitude of experience in that specific area. So this next week is marketing. Wendy Taylor will be talking. She's been doing strategic online marketing since the 90s. So I really encourage you to come to this program. It's free, and you'll be able to reference your business plan at the end forever. It's an evergreen online model through Canvas. So thanks for your time.
Yeah, and part of that too is a reminder that Wendy is running the UCF incubator. You know, two things to mention, you know, based on that. Two books that I would recommend. Has anybody read the E-Myth Revisited? Great book. And then the second one is called Traction. I can't think of the author's name. These are two awesome books on how to structure and run your business. And I think anybody that's been in business, I would highly recommend them. You combine that with this program, and you're going to have a well-structured and well-run business. Margaret, did you have something? Young professionals?
Yes, I was gonna say young professionals.
Young professionals,
And
yes.
talk about who your upcoming speaker is.
Yes, so Young Professionals is moving to Tuesday nights, and we'll be starting about 5:36, and that is the third Tuesday of every month. And young professionals and people interested in mentoring or presenting are welcome to come. And would you like to share a little bit on our speaker?
I don't know him personally, but I've heard he's the best restaurateur in the county, that he owns 9 of the top 10 performing restaurants in the Villages.
Fred Kamarapur is his name.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, it's a difficult name to say. Fred Kamarapur, and he is an established restaurateur businessman. He has some great philosophies on how to manage multiple locations. He's an incredible man to learn from. You don't have to be completely young. I'm there. I go.
Younger you are, so, but the quality of the speakers that we've had these last 2 times in the young professionals, which I'm not even sure we should call it that anymore just because of the content that we provide, and the value that you can get from that is immense. I thought the last speaker we had was great, art of conscious communication. So yeah, don't be afraid to pay whether if you're a member of the Eustis Chamber, you get in free, but otherwise it's $10, and there's usually drinks and hors d'oeuvres. That's right here in Mega Workplace, the third Tuesday of every month, 5:30 to 7:30. Okay.
Yeah, my wife and I came last week, and let me tell you, it was well worth the $10 entry fee. All right, before we finish up, 2 reminders. Bring somebody next week. Let's keep packing the room. Let's fill the room. Let's add more chairs. And if you do not know somebody, this is part 1A. Invite them to watch us on Facebook. And then secondly, presenters. You got a Facebook share.
No, I don't. I'm saying share it. Go on and
Share
share
it.
it to your people.
Share the feed on your Facebook page. Let's get more people involved. Invite them to watch on Facebook. And then presentations. You see what it's about. Our first timers, you see what it's about. If you're ready to present, let's sign up and get presented. Drake.
Share it on your public and your business page, especially public. Just because they're not here, there's organization on Wednesdays that they do this all across the country. So your
Yes.
friends in other states can benefit from this.
And that's a great point. Every Wednesday, where there is a 1 Million Cups chapter, they all meet at the same time, every Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Generally, is when the meeting starts. We have our connecting time from 8:30 to 9. But you can go anywhere, and if you want to go to Vegas or Denver and they have one, you can go visit that one. It's going to be the same time as we have here on Wednesday mornings. And then lastly, before we wrap up, anything else? We're going to do a group picture. Thanks everybody for attending.
I love your idea. Thank you. Besides just not doing this citywide, I like that. I thought it was great. And it's enclosed. Yeah. Maybe get some team
back, there's a table there. Not going
Thanks, Steve.
Which is what we were trying to give them opportunity
Close. I'm not gonna be there. I don't want to be. I don't know what the topic let's say they have 5%, they're going to be over me and have that 2% buffer. And you're going to see a lot of this. I'm looking at my peers as I'm going to all of find out exactly to be able to see which one is right. It's I share and look up here. I'm going to go through the process. We're going to do 5 or 6%. This is what I'm giving them. But it's going to be harder to buy it now because they got to pay the commission. So I would rather sell your hands quickly. So we will do a 6 to 5%. And what I'm going to do is with my peers, we're going to share our brokers are going to share. You're going to have now buyers agents. They're going to look at who has the best commission. Who's going to be the so we want to go in there and get and we are the ones to share.
I want to make sure every single buyer has that opportunity to look at your home and not worry about having to pay.
Correct. And that's how I do it. But you don't really have to
giving him the badge. Yeah, giving him the badge.
You're not bringing all of the, you're not bringing all of the offers to them, because now you ostracize them, they can't afford to.
When that buyer comes in, are you not gonna charge that buyer commission? Are you gonna give the seller at that point their commission to work with that buyer?
This, what I see is a lot of this is very different than it should be. Because they don't have it as a choice. They're not doing justice and doing the best for their clients.
Okay, that's what I'm.
Because all the agents I've done in the past, I would go and look at the CPFO, and I did all the work. I would represent the buyer, and they got me a lot of work. No, I'm on the same page.
They're not making money.
You know how.
You gotta call every single one.
I'm really curious.
If they could